Everyone's worried AI will replace them, but the truth is more dangerous. AI might convince us to stop trusting each other. And once that trust erodes, everything else breaks. Hey, welcome to Dataliction Essentials. I'm John Staub, and this is where we take the most important lessons that we've had from real conversations and we distill them into truths that we all need in order to grow our companies on purpose. These solo episodes are meant to be straight to the heart, short, human, and deeply practical. And today, we're talking about the one thing that every organization needs before it adopts AI: trust. We're in a moment where trust is not just a soft skill or an HR value. It's a survival requirement. In the full conversation that I had with our guest Ryan Dozer, a theme kept surfacing again and again. Without trust, none of this works. The systems fail, the strategies fail, the tools don't matter. If we don't rebuild trust inside of our companies and around our AI adoption efforts, we're walking ourselves straight into a trust recession that will cost us far more than any ROI shortfall. Let's start with the most obvious. Most organizations are asking their teams to embrace AI before they've even clarified what they believe about it. We're, saying trust the process, quote unquote, without defining the process. We're asking people to integrate tools that affect workflows and decisions and outcomes, but we're not giving them the confidence that someone has thought through the full implications. And in that vacuum, what people feel is not excitement. No, it's erosion, not just of roles or responsibilities, but of clarity and confidence and connection. Again, our guest, Ryan Dozer, he said it clearly in our conversation, okay? Trust is being challenged at every level. And if we aren't intentional about restoring that trust, then we're going to end up with incredible technology layered on top of deeply fragile foundations. And that's not a tech problem. That is, again, a leadership problem. You're going to hear that theme throughout all of our Dataliction episodes. It starts with how we roll things out. Too many AI initiatives are still being launched with vague explanations and unclear ownership. When that happens, what we're really doing is asking people to go along with something they don't fully understand, driven by goals they weren't even invited to help shape. We assume trust is implicit in the job title, but I'm telling you right now, that's not how trust works. Trust is earned in clarity. Trust is earned in consistency, in the ability to acknowledge the human side of change. And if you're not building intentionally that trust, the default is then doubt. People start to protect themselves. They question the motivations behind change. They will resist, not because they're lazy, not because they're negative, but because nobody helped them to feel safe. And let's just say this quiet part out loud. AI has made people feel less safe, period. Not because of the tech itself, no, but because it's accelerating at a pace of change that feels really disconnected from reality. If you want to protect your culture during this transformation, your corporate culture, the single most strategic thing you can do is make trust the foundation of your implementation. That means that transparency about what you do, with AI and what it won't do. That means specifically around what is changing and then what is not changing. That means bringing people into the process really early, not because it checks a box, okay? But because it affirms their human value. Another thing that our guest, Ryan Dozer, reminded me is that every high-performing team that he's worked with, the leaders have gone out of their way to clarify purpose, not just company-wide vision statements, but purpose At even the micro level. Hey, why this change? Why this tool? Why now? When people understand that why, and when they know that someone is actually stewarding their trust carefully, they show up differently. They participate and they advocate. I'm telling you, that is what trust does. But if you skip that trust, if you rush forward with AI initiatives without checking the trust temperature, so to speak, of your team, here's what happens. People start to retreat. They will go quiet. They'll just, smile and nod in meetings, but really they're just disengaging in real life. They'll withhold ideas and they'll resist the feedback loops. They'll quietly create all these workarounds that keep things looking smooth on the surface, but then they're really just breaking underneath. And then you wonder why your AI tools aren't delivering the value and the ROI that you hope for. It's not the tools. Again, I say it is the trust. So you're probably asking the question, this is the same question that we asked, what do we do about it? Great question, okay? The answer isn't more software. It's just not. The answer is more presence, more proximity maybe, more conversations where leaders say it out loud. Hey, this is new. We know it's uncomfortable, but we do believe that it's worth it, and we want you to be part of shaping how it fits. Ryan talked about the power of that kind of leadership where vulnerability is not seen as a weakness, but as an invitation, as an open hand, a real human signal that says, you matter in this. And then that is how we begin to trust. Trust also grows when people see their input is actually making a difference. If you want buy-in, make sure feedback isn't just being collected, but then it's being applied, okay? Let your team see how their concerns, inform the plan. When, they see how their questions actually sharpened the rollout. That loop right there builds confidence. That loop right there builds culture. And you cannot fake that. You cannot AI that, all right? Here's another shift. Stop hiding behind complexity. Some leaders think that if they can just bury people in technical language and advanced diagrams, they're going to be impressed long enough to go along. They will not. But I will say, trust isn't built in complexity. It's built in coherence. You can't, if you can't explain your AI strategy in human, simple terms, then you haven't really done the work. You've got to be able to humanly, simply explain it. So, one of my favorite things that we got in this conversation with Ryan is he said that the real risk is not AI failing. It's humans failing to steward it, failing to lead well, failing to center the people who will actually use it. He reminded us that AI adoption is not an IT project. It's a trust project. And if you don't lead with trust, you're going to waste a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of money chasing alignment that you should have earned up front. So here is the big idea. Trust is the true infrastructure of AI adoption. Trust is the true infrastructure of AI adoption. It's not a nice to have. It's the ground we build everything on. If you want your organization to grow and scale and evolve in this new AI era, then your first investment is not a new tool. It's in the clarity and the consistency that is required to build that trust back up that we've lost in this trust recession. If you start there, everything else will get easier. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Dataliction Essentials right here on our podcast. We are so grateful that you continue to listen. So for your next step, visit our website at dataliction.com and sign up for your free 30-minute AI readiness consultation for you and your company. Fill out the form, see our availability, schedule it right there. The intake form actually has some very essential questions to make sure that we are going to be super helpful for you. And yes, just a short 30 minutes. And then, of course, if it makes sense, we'll actually unpack our full AI adoption operating system for you. It's a 12-month program, but we can share more if the time comes. For now, take your first step, schedule it with us, and start leveraging AI to help your teams be all that they can be and to grow better into the future together.